Alright guys, I have a little house noise on, but I got to get this done before we take off on a trip. Um, Once again, just off the Pacific coast, the engineering is profound. We've got a ridge, or actually a trough, coming in across North Alaska. It's impacting this jet stream flow and creating this deepening trough across the middle part of the nation. So along this edge is where they're hitting it hard. We go into the visible imagery and you can kind of see the stripes against the lower marine layer. They're there. You can see the stripes into portions of eastern Washington state. Come up here and see if we can't get that a little better. A little jiggly here. But then we've got the action there. Middle part of the nation is certainly dealing with some rains. We talked about last week how this trough is going to be a very slow mover and that we would end up with these rains marching slowly through the southeastern states. That has certainly been the case today. And then we see a plethora of trails across Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and then working into the mid-Atlantic states, and then just a ton of them even through mid-Missouri. Those are there as well. So there's not a place that isn't impacted profoundly by this. So the question is, why off Oregon? Why off Washington State? And it has to do with this low here. It has to do with this shortwave impulse racing or just now impacting British Columbia. And then here's the larger trough moving through the mid-south, ejecting a low across New England. And then we still have this fold over high, this high here, that is off California and off the Pacific coast. And then as we skip out 24 hours, this low deepens and it continues the heavy rains. These are beneficial rains that are marching through the southeast. But what is interesting is this high, this place where they're engineering now, scoots the high off to the west. It folds over this lower trough and then opens up the Pacific Northwest and the central part of this country for a surge of very, very chilly air. And in fact, I'm seeing snow levels or snow lines that may extend within a week's time. Let's just skip all the way to the end. You can see this prominent ridge well off the northern BC coast, the Alaskan, not peninsula, but down towards Juneau, but this almost over Alaska flow and then pouring the cold air down into the middle part of the nation. I would not be surprised to see some snows across the upper Midwest, and then a frost, the first frost, as we head towards Saturday morning, well into northern Illinois, encompassing a good chunk of eastern Nebraska and a portion of Iowa as well. And that scenario remains very well established. Low, high, so high over low, jet stream trough, and this is not quite an omega block situation, but it's something very substantial and relatively similar, but it is a persistent pattern. Once this sets up, it's going to be here for a while. So as we wind back and look at how all this begins, we see this engineering, this jet stream, as they're beginning to work off this trough. Let me see if I can go into the hemispheric products, up into the North Pacific. There's the visible imagery. And then I want to look at, I would really like to look at about a 48-hour water vapor loop. And we'll load that up. We'll just do a touch of enhancement when it loads. And we'll be able to see the trails off the Oregon coast here. We have a very potent jet stream or low pressure well north of the Hawaiian Islands. And then it's this guy that's now really beginning to take shape. This is going to be the impetus for change across the continental U.S. over the coming 10-day period. And out ahead of this, we can see more trailing here. Right in through there, you can see those little darts. And right there. So that, plus what's happening off the coast of Oregon, leads me to think that this storm coming off Alaska is going to be stronger than forecast, deeper than forecast, and likely will yield colder weather across the Great Lakes states than we've seen yet this season. All right, everybody, keep looking up. Look at this bright October sunshine. 1 October here in southern Colorado. And over the mountains, we're in a profound, we're definitely in a decidedly northerly flow, and we're going to be in this drier northerly flow for days to come. You just kind of saw that in the discussion with this amplifying ridge in the Gulf of Alaska, and then pouring cool air through the western 2/3 of this country. That flow pattern is getting underway now, and it looks like it's going to be accentuated as that trough is dug a little farther westward by all the chemtrails that are off the Oregon-Washington coastline now. Stepped outside around 10:30. It's just a bit after 1 o'clock now, and saw 4 planes off in the horizon. One without leaving a trail. It was northbound. The others were doing one west, one east, and then another one approaching from behind me. But otherwise, it's been a relatively quiet day. Not much in the way of trails, just a few. And so I doing a drive to the Front Range, and then with that, we'll get a little view of some other terrain, some other territory here later on in the day. Got my little butt out of the road here. The colors are turning, and this country's in for the sunniest month of the year. That's October, when we see our clearest days with the atmosphere the most transparent. All right, everybody, see you on the road. Just a moment or two later, here's one of those little short trails. It's one of the high altitude ones. Not doing anything on the lower elevations today, which is fine with me. But, and see, there's two. Boom, boom. They always come at some kind of an angle. Rarely are they straight on. And so the angle between them, you'll be able to see that angle showing up in the cloud formations down below. Where, the interference of two straight lines. It's going to be an angle. So they're up high today, but they're still present. As I kind of earlier said they were, but they're still up high. And he looks like he's climbing. Because that's level there. And he's on an incline, whereas here's level. So one of this cool thing about this Sony camera is it does give me a level. Oh, and there's a third one. Up high. So the west is going to be a busy couple of days, I suppose. We've got enough planes out there now they can touch the whole world. The whole world is in their grasp. The whole bloody world. This one's lasting a little bit longer. Definitely lasting longer.